While Donald Trump's campaign continues to flail and collapse, Kamala Harris is putting the pedal to the metal in the final weeks of this election, barnstorming swing states, sending her surrogates to the places that we need to turn out voters most, and also sending people places which we traditionally wouldn't go. And as we saw last week, Governor Tim Walz appeared on Fox News, and he did so again today. Yes, showing up on the Fox Propaganda Network, not only to set the record straight about himself and his successes as governor of Minnesota, but to make the case for himself and Kamala Harris to defeat Donald Trump to an audience that rarely hears the truth. And Tim Walz was not putting up with any of the lies coming out of the MAGA Fox host interviewing him, absolutely silencing her when she tried to push lies, like I said, not just about him, but about the Harris campaign at large. And it was such a perfect performance from Governor Walz. I think almost even better than last week, and I am so excited to get into it. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button and join the community that we are building on this channel. It really goes a long way in supporting the work we're doing. Now, Governor Tim Walz wasn't the only person to appear on Fox this morning. J.D. Vance did first. So I first want to check out what he had to say and how he got called out before we get into Governor Walz.
Okay, I want to get to the Trump and Vance approach when it comes to abortion. Clearly, that's one of the issues that appears to be leading to this gender gap that you guys have a disadvantage with. Governor Walz, when he joined us last week, said here that you have supported a national abortion ban in the past. He may have been referring to this position you took in 2022. This is from your Senate debate then.
You would vote for Lindsey Graham's 15-week ban?
As I just said, I think it's totally reasonable to say you cannot abort a baby, especially for elective reasons, after 15 weeks of gestation. No civilized country allows it.
Okay, so not a federal ban per se on the procedure everywhere, but if you're talking about 15 or 20-week ban nationally, that is going to cut off access to a lot of people who have greater access in a number of different states now. You've talked about how this is back to the states. Has your position on that changed? Would you vote for something that was a 15, 20-week ban at the national level?
Well, Shannon, first of all, I do think it's reasonable to say at a certain level late-term abortions are barbaric if they're done for elective reasons. Of course, you have to have the exceptions, but late-term abortions for elective reasons is something that no civilized country allows. And certainly there is a contrast here between Governor Walz and Kamala Harris. They want late-term abortions funded by taxpayers, forced on Christian hospitals, and that's not something that Donald Trump and I like.
Okay,
but even
when you
within
talk about a 15 or 20-week ban,
Shannon,
people will say that sounds like a national ban. I mean, we're just playing with semantics here.
No, it's not, Shannon, because, look, President Trump, who, of course, is the leader of the Republican Party, has explicitly said that he would not support a national abortion ban. He has said that he thinks this issue should be left to the states. That is the official policy of the Republican Party in this election, and it's something that clearly President Trump believes in. And I think it's important to say why, Shannon, because it illustrates how different our approaches are here. President Trump recognizes that California is a different state from Alabama, which is a different state from Pennsylvania. We want the voters in these states to make these decisions. We're sick of the nationalized culture war over this topic, and I think the best way is to return it to the voters in the states. President Trump has certainly made that the official policy of our party.
A little bit of a surprising amount of pushback from that Fox host calling out J.D. Vance for what we know to be true and what he continues to lie about most, that he's in favor of a national abortion ban. We saw it the other day in an interview with the New York Times in which, one, he wouldn't admit that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election, but two, he finally admitted that, yes, he has said before that he is in favor of a national ban. And that is incredibly damaging to the Trump campaign, and J.D. Vance and, of course, Donald Trump just can't seem to skirt that fact as much as they try to distance themselves from it. And someone who also is making sure the truth is known is obviously Governor Tim Walz, who was next up on Fox, and I can say did a much better job than J.D. Vance, and you will see that when he shuts down the lies right here.
You've moved to the left. I think that is fair to say. Here's what the Intelligencer says. Walz had a fairly conservative voting record in Congress where he represented a red district. He used that record to win the governorship and then moved sharply left. Here's something that you said weeks ago.
Don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Okay, so Merriam-Webster Dictionary on socialism says it's a system of society or group living in which there's no private property, or this condition of society in which the means of production are owned and controlled by the state. Did you mean to advocate for that here in the U.S.?
No, Shannon, look, I'm a capitalist. I was making the point of is Republicans oftentimes talk about socialism. And what I would make the case of is we build our roads collectively together. I don't think anybody's arguing that you should have to build your own road from your house to your business place or whatever. So I said this definition that the right uses about this, things that we collectively do together, that, look, I believe in moral capitalism. I believe capitalism works and it lifts everyone up. But I also believe you have to make sure that there's things that we collectively do together. We educate our children by using our public schools. We build roads. We do some of the things like public health where we work together. So the point being on this is of trying to divide that, but you certainly can't have a capitalism that says billionaires get everything and the middle class gets nothing. And I think Kamala Harris's point on this is lifting up the middle class, making an opportunity economy, making housing affordable, making drug prices more affordable. That's what we're talking about. And so I said, don't listen to them tell you that these things that we can do together, but also we want people to succeed. And when you succeed, all we're asking is that you pay your fair share. I'm excited when people become, if they make it, their business grows, they become wealthy, that's fine. Just pay your fair share and then all of us do better.
Okay, so the word, did you not mean to use the word socialism? Was it a knucklehead thing or did you mean to use it?
No, it was what the right uses. Would you describe, Shannon, and your viewers, that building roads is socialism?
No, but that's also not the government controlling all property and means of funding those roads and taking from you and saying that you don't have your private funds. Although people would argue about taxes, some people argue that they do feel like it feels confiscatory.
Well, no, we made no problem. Look, the point being is Donald Trump says that this is a socialist or Marxist government. Kamala Harris is actually doing just the opposite of that, creating a free economy that works and people can grow into the middle class. So I think the argument here is that just trying to blanket over, most people recognize that the Infrastructure Act is creating massive private wealth because of building that out together. And that's what Kamala Harris has done, understanding that the things that government should do, government can do. The things the private sector can do, they should. Okay. That's a big difference from Donald Trump skewing things towards the wealthy.
An absolutely perfect performance from Governor Walz. He did this last week, absolutely crushed it, showed up again this morning, tore Fox apart. I really hope he does this till the end of the campaign because, again, it's only about 10 minutes for Governor Walz to sit down. He reaches an important audience, and I always love seeing Fox have their lives shut down. But really, this host showing how out of touch she is, and so is the rest of the Republican Party, when they clearly don't understand what Tim Walz is talking about of neighborly socialism. When one of your friends or family members maybe has a bit of a bad day, or maybe they had a medical procedure or a death in the family, you bring them over a dish. You help out. That's what that neighborly socialism that Tim Walz is talking about. But they don't seem to understand that, and they also don't seem to understand the successes of his governorship. But Tim Walz will make them understand one appearance at a time. But like I said, J.D. Vance also appeared this morning, and so I want to play a little bit more of him getting called out on the rest of that interview.
But even a lot of Democrats who are pro-choice, who want wide access to abortion, will say, we don't think taxpayers should be funding this stuff. And that, again, that bipartisan consensus is something President Trump very much supports.
Okay, so maybe not a full defunding of Planned Parenthood per se, but anything that you would be able to potentially track, which they say doesn't happen, but to abortion. We have so many more questions.
When J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are asked about their policies, they can't answer. Defund Planned Parenthood. Where are people going to go for the cancer screenings they need to make sure that women are safe? Oh, J.D. Vance hasn't even considered that. Why? Because he doesn't care. Agenda number one is attack, lie, and of course, for them, blame immigrants. Questions come later. Substance comes never, I don't think. Of course, they don't have plans for anything. They have Project 2025, a plan they're quite literally running away from, even though it is the truth of their campaign. But no. J.D. Vance cannot answer. So we need Governor Walz to answer for him, and that is exactly what he did, calling out his lies, calling out his BS specifically in this clip right here.
Donald Trump was in Detroit, and he said, our whole country will end up being Detroit. You're going to have a mess on your hands. Well, look, I know you don't, that's not unexpected for him. That's exactly what he's going to do, tear down America. But if the guy would have ever spent any time in the Midwest, like all of us know, we'd know Detroit's experiencing American comeback and renaissance. Look, I'm a Twins fan, and you whipped our ass. We know where this is. Detroit's there, so we know. City's growing, crime's down, factories are opening up. But those guys, all they know about manufacturing is manufacturing bullshit every time they show up. Every time they show up.
So incredibly spot on from Governor Walz. All they know how to do is manufacture BS. And Donald Trump, like I always say, whenever he opens his mouth, it's bound to backfire. Imagine going to Detroit and saying that you don't want the rest of the country to end up like Detroit as the city continues to grow and boom and be revitalized because, in some large part, of the Biden-Harris administration and the policies that will continue under Kamala Harris to invest in American manufacturing. What is he doing? Clearly not a lot. Manufacturing left Michigan under you, Donald. It's being brought back under the Biden-Harris administration. They are just making the case against themselves, and we are going to continue to make that case as well every single day. If you want to support that, as always, you hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.